Hello, my dear friends. I hope you're all doing very well. Today we are learning chapter 8 in the laws of prayer. So over here the Rambam discusses an extremely fundamental idea in the concept of prayer in Judaism. And he says that there is a concept called communal prayer, which is the idea of praying with a minyan, if you've ever heard that term. A minyan literally means praying with 10 people together. As we're going to learn who these 10 people are, where, how, when, what, but the idea is to pray not just a person on their own, but rather to everyone come together and pray together as one. And the Rambam says that prayer of a community is so great. When a congregation comes together and pray, God definitely will be listening to their prayers. And a person should always want to be able to pray together with a congregation rather than to pray on their own. It's actually, in the time of Corona, it's not always so possible. But when it is healthy and safe to do so, it most definitely is a very special thing to do. And if a person has a synagogue, a place of worship where the congregation comes together and prays and doesn't go, that's a very terrible thing. And when a person goes to the shul, when a person goes to the synagogue, he should run, and we should go in a quick sprint to go to pray in an excited way. It shouldn't just be as an annoying thing which we have to do, God forbid. And the Rambam says that a very interesting thing in regards to synagogues. The Rambam says that a place of study is actually greater than a place of prayer. So in other words, the Rambam says if you have the option of going to pray, obviously with a minyan, with the congregation, there is more than 10 people praying together, and you have the option of going to a place which only has the prayer over there, it's only a place of prayer, a synagogue per se, and then you have another option which is a place of study as well, so then you should choose the place where they also have Torah study, because that is the greatest. So how does it work when you have a congregation praying together? So you have what is called the chazan, the leader, which the leader is the one who leads the congregation in the prayer, and they are reading out loud and everyone else joins along. And the congregation is comprised of men who are over the age of bar mitzvah, all joined together in one place, 10 men. And they should all be praying together at the same time, and there are certain things that we can only do when there is a minyan. For instance, the special blessing of the Kohanim, of the priests, is only done when there is a minyan. Or, for instance, the Kaddish prayer, which is a very special prayer which is done only with a minyan, only when there is a congregation of 10 people or more. And in general, anything of holiness should always be done with a congregation coming together with a minyan. And Rambam says that when we come together to pray, we shouldn't be one person in one room and another person in a different room and another person in a third room, but rather they should all be all in the same room. And if for whatever reason, maybe they're social distancing and some people are in another room, so if the main crowd is in one bigger room and then you have another smaller room which is off it, where you have the overflow, so to speak, so that's fine. But if the main crowd is in a smaller room and you have just a few people in the bigger main hall, so then they would not be part of the main congregation, because the fact that everyone is in a small room shows that's where it's at. That's where the real party is at. And similarly, also, if there is any dirt or bad smell coming from the small room, which is off the side, so then it would be okay, because it is an entity for itself. And if you have a person who is praying, he is the leader, he is the chazan, and when they are praying with the congregation, so then the chazan is able to read, the leader is able to read the prayers, and someone who is not able to read them on their own, for whatever reason, he's able just to listen to the leader, and it's going to be as if they prayed themselves. But in general, if a person is able to pray, so then it's obviously recommended. It's a very positive thing for a person to read it on their own. Except in specific times when, for instance, in the Jubilee year, there were some very, very long blessings on the Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. So then at that time, the leader would just read it for everyone, and everyone would just listen to them. But in general, if a person is able to read, so then they definitely should. But if they're not, then it's okay. If they're with the rest of the congregation, listening to the chazan, to the leader leading the prayer. Now, who should be this leader? And that's the question which the Rambam comes over here to address. And he says that it should be a person who is accepted and loved by the congregation, and he's smart, and he's a very nice person in their actions. And in general, the leader should be someone who is older, who is someone someone who is respected, and has a good voice, and knows the prayers well. But someone who is young, a young boy of 13, 14 years old, it's not so honored for the congregation. But if the young bar mitzvah boy wants to lead a prayer, so then it's okay. It's all right. But in general, as a set way, it should be an older person who is going to be an honor from their congregation. And similarly, also someone who doesn't have a clear way in the way they pronounce the words, so then not necessarily should they be the ones who is going to be appointed to be the leader of the congregation as the cantor, as the leader, in order that it should be clear and heard exactly what they are reading. And whenever the leader goes up to pray, definitely in the morning services, they should always wear a talit, covered by a cloak, the ritual cloak, which is used for prayer. So that is the chapter for today, my friends. So, God willing, we will continue tomorrow, and we will be in touch. Have a very good one.